Welcome to Grave Reload. I'm Anthony, and AMD had their Computex announcement. Now, I do plan on going through Intel's and NVIDIA's announcements as well. AMD, we had some interesting information with the next generation AMD CPUs, the 7000 generation on the AM5 platform. So this is now finally moving away from that AM4 platform, moving into the next generation. Uh, they have a new chipset coming out, the X670 and the B650. I noticed that there was no announcement of like a 620, which I'm fine with. I think that AMD focusing on two chipsets is probably a better tactic. Now, I do hope that those motherboards come in at the same price point or lower as before, as you know, I like that B5 or the BX5, you know, 550, 450, 350, 650. I like that little sweet spot there, and hopefully it still has a whole bunch of overclocking features. There's been not much announced with that from AMD, but there has been some other stuff I've read that yes, there will be overclocking support on that B650. So I hope they don't go the Intel right and be segmented like Intel does. AMD has a lot of potential here if they keep on not only giving value. I think what AMD needs to do is knock out the value but also have the high-end product. That's what I would do as a company to fulfill the entire market. I don't feel like focusing on just the high end or talking about premium is going to be the best option, because yes, you want that Halo product, but you also need to hit those price points and hit the products underneath. If the product is called the 7950X, come on AMD. You've been on 16 cores now for too many generations. It should have been a 24 core. In fact, I'm not a huge fan of that. I like that the 50, 60, 70s to be the Threadripper lineup. That next step, so everyone knows, hey, you're stepping up here. You're getting a better product in a different socket. I think that you should have like the 7900X as your top of the line 16 core, but that's naming schemes. That's me. They decided they tried to do too much Intel, and AMD didn't do so well. But overall, this whole entire Computex thing was, I mean, at least it was short. I mean, I will give it that. It seems like there wasn't. There was just laying the groundwork for another announcement, which fine, but I'm not really into watching another announcement about something that's going to be coming out in a few months, right? To me, it's entertainment, fine, but maybe some people are going to be hyped about this. I didn't feel like I got really hyped out of it. I feel like I got some information out of it, and it's more of, hey, AMD doing a tease to see what's going to happen on later on this year. Great. Okay. I just sat through that for 30 minutes to do whatever. But since I'm doing a video on it, right, I wanted to glean some of the good things out of it. One, we know that AMD is releasing an old architecture for cheaper laptops. This is good, Zen 2 based, RDNA 2, so you're going to have that benefit there of having the RDNA 2. Granted, it's on an older Zen 2 architecture, which just happens to be the same CPUs that are in the consoles. Kind of interesting that it's the same kind of console setup, Zen 2 processors, RDNA 2, or something close to that, going into these cheaper $700 and under laptops. I just found that interesting. Then we have they talked about AMD Advantage and a lot of laptops. Okay, I did order a new laptop here. It's gonna be Intel 12th gen, but I want something more repairable. I'm kind of moving in that direction. If I need to do any heavy lifting, I'm going to my desktop. Right, that's just the way I am. But I can see some people maybe wanting a high-end laptop, and AMD has some AMD Advantage stuff. That's going to be moving forward, but AMD must, and I say must, hammer this home and market it, because Intel is gunning for them, right? Intel wants their processors in an entire ecosystem. They will have that. Intel has a great ability to force that on their partners. NVIDIA does not want to lose being in laptops. Well, and AMD also wants to do the same thing as Intel. So they have to market this and get this thing. hopefully I'll do an NVIDIA video here soon on their Computex stuff. But they have to be worried about getting squeezed out here. But I think that they're gonna come up with something. NVIDIA always does. So another concerning thing was AMD only selling 70 million CPUs in this AM4 platform. Really? Come on, AMD. You were top dog for a little bit. Maybe you have to redo your marketing. Maybe put more money in marketing. I'm not a huge fan of that, but do something different with your marketing because, and well, maybe not just marketing, but how you're pricing the products, and maybe not price them so high because that's saying that Intel's still eating your lunch based upon some other numbers I've seen, and that's not what you want, especially when you have the top processor out in the market. So let's jump into kind of some of the AM5 platforms, these new Ryzen 7000 series processor, and see how it's going. Because they announced some laptop stuff, which I'm interested in, but let's get it out so I can actually buy it in a, like a framework laptop or something like that that's repairable. Okay. So they're going to have two chipsets, a B650 and an X670. Now that X670 also comes with an X670E or Extreme, which then guarantees like PCI 5 across to, 2 GPU slots and your storage, where X670 only requires it to one slot and one storage, I think. And then B550 is you get a PCI 5, I think, for storage. So there's different steps up. There's different segregation there. I'm sure some people are going to have a 650 with PCI Gen 5, to a graphics card, plus all your storage, stuff like that. So there's be differentiators between each brand and each motherboard, which I'm perfectly okay with, right? So have the low end and step up. That's what I want. But I also don't want this to be a jump up where the extreme is, you're only overclocking, and the X670 you can't, and the B550 you can't either, right? I don't want entry to overclocking. I want all these to AMD stick with what you've been with this whole entire time, and everything is able to be overclocked. So I think that's another thing AMD has to come out with and be clear about. But I don't think we're going to get much unless AMD is going to drip out information until release. Until the release of these products is where I really think this is all going to be announced, and where we're going to have to fire questions. Right now it's kind of getting AMD in the right mind and saying, hey, these are things that you kind of need to pay attention to. Your customer base not just is the high end, right? It's also mid-range and low end. I have a lot of mid-range and low end systems I build for people because it's a great price point, and and for a lot of these processors now, especially in the 6 core, it's great for longevity where I don't have to touch their system for many, many years. So hopefully AMD can do that and bring that out. Otherwise, Intel will eat their lunch, right? Intel has more name nomenclature than AMD right now, and it will be until AMD not only has a premium product, but has it at a price point where it beats Intel at basically every single price point. It has to remember that. And so these are just things that are going through my head as I'm seeing AMD's announcement and going through. Yes, they said it was a 5 gigahertz clock. I don't know if that's all core. I don't know if that's single core. Great. They showed a blender thing. I don't know how you were all running the systems. There's a lot of questions here that AMD just did not answer and did not leave enough information out there for us to glean a good understanding of where they're coming from. So I do have some questions. I do have some things I hope AMD does do. But in essence, we are sitting here doing the waiting game until this information either leaks out to us or AMD says something here during the release cycle. So let me know what your thoughts are on AMD's announcement. Where do you think these next generation CPUs are going to sit? How do you think the performance is? Do you think that there'll be a 3D V-Cache version later on? And why do you think it is that AMD maybe won't have that at release? So with that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for taking the time to support Gray Overload and helping this channel grow. I will have more on this as they release. I like to build a new system here soon, but I'm not going with the current generation AMD or Intel. I want something next gen, and only time will tell if I even wait a little bit longer. So with that, thank you guys so much. Until next time, God bless, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.